Hi, I'm Delaney, and for my senior project, I chose to do a California History Day, teaching the fourth graders at Presswood Elementary School about the importance of California history and kind of the gold rush and all that stuff. Oh, and my advisory teacher was Miss Sempel. So first, a little bit about me. Obviously, I'm a senior. I played 4 years of varsity volleyball here at the high school. I was a 4-time first-team All-League player. I was a 2-time All-Empire player. I got first team All-State this year. I was a co-MVP of the league and a co-captain. I was named a Press Democrat Athlete of the Year. And I also played basketball for 2 years on varsity and 1 year on JV. I didn't play this past year because I played club volleyball in the spring. And academically, I have a 3.86 GPA. I am an AP Scholar with Merit. And yeah, next slide. So what really spawned my interest for my senior project was in 4th grade, the Presswood, when I was there, went on a California History Day, an outdoor educational field trip for 3 days to Coloma, which is the site of Sutter's Mill, where gold was first discovered by John Marshall. And as you can see in the picture, this is the mill that it was discovered at. And for me, I've always really liked history. I liked it when I was little too. It was kind of weird, but I remember just having my whole life change from that one moment. We did a solo hike, we built teepees, we baked cornbread, we force panned for gold. I still have my gold vial at home. But it was just a really, really like motivational and inspirational thing for me. It totally changed my outlook, and it's what's driven my history passion since the time I was there. And I learned about 6 years ago that they don't go anymore, or it was 2 years after me that they don't go anymore. And it kind of shocked me because for such an emotional event for me, it made me really sad that these kids don't get to experience it anymore. So for my project, of course, I wanted to recreate it for them. So that's kind of what spurred my interest for the whole thing. So next slide. And how it ties into my research paper. My thesis is, although certain people strongly advocate for the privatization of parks, in reality, parks must remain maintained by national, state, and federal governments in order to ensure that the parks remain for the people and not for profit. So just to kind of sum up my research paper, it's about the privatization of parks. And what motivated me for that was Coloma being a nationally owned park or federally owned park. It's cheaper, kids can go there, it's like a campsite basically, and it makes it really accessible for the public. And where this is really prominent right now is in Yosemite. They're trying to turn things like the Ahwahnee Hotel into a more privatized hotel, making it for more profit. And it really makes me sad to hear that because, I mean, I think it should be something that our nation gets to celebrate instead of something that isn't as accessible because of its cost. So next slide. So this picture kind of demonstrates the transition. The top one is what, our idealistic Yosemite looks like. It's beautiful, it's natural, it's totally untouched. And the bottom picture is a comparison. Similar colors, it's still Yosemite that we know and love, but it's, it's a giant hotel with a resort. It's not the big famous Marriott that every kid knows and expects it to be. But, it's trying to restore and, keep and preserve the beautiful nature that we have. Next slide. So this chart kind of demonstrates the implications of privatization. Everything under the stairs is what falls inside of privatization. It's recreation, it's maintenance, it's the basic capital investment, and all the upkeep of the park. But on the right-hand side, you kind of see you lose the science, you lose the studying of our nature. We don't really get to delve into the importance and the exciting bits of nature and the hikes and the beauty of it. So it's a cost-benefit analysis, but you lose out. So then that's my research paper. But now for my activity, as I said before, I did a History Alive Day. I basically just did a day for the 4th graders at Presswood. I did Miss Miller and Miss Heiser's 4th grade class and Mr. Griffith's 4th grade class. I went down to the school. I met with the kids at 8 a.m. I had 4 high school volunteers who split into the groups with them. They walked down to Depot Park, which is where my event took place. They made their own butter, and upon arrival, they had flapjacks waiting for them, and they used their butter to put it on their flapjacks. And then after breakfast, they split into groups, or their groups, and came up with names and had bandanas, and then did 4 stations, which were mining, or panning, of course, miners' games. They made their own candles, and they did a barter shop where they got it to go on a scavenger hunt and answer some riddles. So, yeah, you can come to the side. So first, here's a picture of the flapjacks. They when I met them at the school, I gave them little Tupperware where they had salt and marbles and cream inside. And on walking down, they took turns and they all shook the Tupperware up. And then they arrived and had flapjacks, which are just pancakes with cornmeal in them. And I think they liked it. If you go on to the next slide, you can see the pictures of, there's the pancakes. I had my mom and my mentor help me cook the pancakes because I was meeting the kids. And they had syrup and water, and it was kind of cool. They got to, experience it. Flapjacks were a big part of the mining culture. It was a staple in their diet. So they got to experience that. Next slide. So then they went into a barter shop. Mr. Bailey, a man in the community, kindly donated his time and supplies to me. He has a whole collection of mining tools. He has pans and shovels and period correct pickaxes, and they were all really cool. And we came up with 15 riddles for the kids that they had to answer in their groups. And then once they got it, they went to him for approval. And if they had all 15 things, they got a Jolly Rancher. It was really exciting for them. Next slide. Then they went on to candle making. My mom supervised this one, the kids, because of course they couldn't be near fire. But each station consisted of about 20 minutes, and they walked around 8 or 9 times and got to dip their strings into the candle wax for a drip candle. I think they liked it. Continue, yeah. So this is a perfect picture of it. You can see it inside this yellow wax. They just walked in, dipped it in for a second or two, and then went to the back of the line. Next slide. From there, they went on to the miners' games where they did 3 activities. They shucked corn, they threw boots as far as they could, and they did a watermelon seed spitting contest. We were trying to emulate games that kids of the time would have gotten to play, so kids could get a feel for what it would have been like to be a kid during the gold rush and try and get them to experience it because, from my experience, I learned the best when it was a hands-on activity. So I wanted to kind of translate that for the kids. Next slide. And at the end of the day, we had the miners' games where the winner of each activity from each of the 4 groups got to compete. And in the picture, you can see this is the winner from the blue team, and he's doing the watermelon seed spitting contest. He won. He was very proud. It was great. And then finally, of course, we did panning for gold. We got a trough from Friedman's. Sonoma Materials donated rocks and sand. We spent a few hours spraying them, and then the kids got to pan for gold, and they had little pouches that they got to write their names on. And then after about 15 minutes, they came over to me, and I had hot chocolate for them, and they got to barter with me their gold for a cup of hot chocolate. And if they were able to tell me, when gold was discovered, where it was discovered, or who discovered it, they got marshmallows with their hot chocolate. Next slide. Here's a boy. You can see he's digging through his pan, trying to find the gold. There's tons of little gold flecks in there. Next slide. And at the end of the day, we had a debrief where each group got to tell me, their favorite part of the activity, what their favorite fact they learned was. Every single kid remembered the fact they told me to get their marshmallows. It was really fun. But it was cool to experience all of their learning the way I remembered learning it. And then here are my group leaders. Van Scott is not pictured, but we had Alex Gustafson, Audrey Madden, Carly Vollert, and then Van Scott, of course, 2 juniors, 2 seniors, and myself. And then here's a group picture, and the kids were really, really great. They were really fun, but they were definitely the learning stretch for me because I've never planned an activity by myself before. I've assisted my mom with big events she's done. She's done boosters events, and I'd always been there and been a part of it, but I'd never had to plan something on my own. And I learned that I'm not a big fan of 4th graders. They're a lot to deal with. But it was really fun. You can go on. This is the crazy picture. The kids were really, really fun. I loved getting to spend the day with them. But they were my learning stretch by far. Trying to learn patience with them and how to plan an event that they would all stay interested in was not the easiest thing to do. So for after high school, my plans, I'm attending Kenyon College in Ohio in the fall. I will be playing volleyball for them. I can't wait. I will be a lady of Kenyon. It's a really small school. God. I'm going to major in history. I'd really love to study World War II, Eastern European, and Germany. It's fascinating to me. I plan to major on it. After Kenyon, I would love to go to Johns Hopkins. They have an online course in museum administration. My dream is to work at the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. It's everything I want to do. Next slide. As you can see here, I'd love to intern at either the Smithsonian or the Holocaust Museum. Really, I just want to be involved in museums and try and bring history alive to all kids, on the grander scale of just my senior project. I think it's really important that kids get to take the aspect of, getting to actually feel and experience the history and make it actually come alive for them, because reading through textbooks isn't as much fun as some people think it is. I like making it come alive. I want to make it adventurous and fun and seem really thrilling to them. Next slide. And then I just want to do a thank you to Sonoma Materials, Friedman's. They both donated the mining and panning supplies for me. It was really, really appreciated. Didn't know how expensive it would be, but they totally helped me out. My group leaders and my mentor and the 4th grade teachers and all of you judges, thank you so much for donating your time. And do you have any questions? For me, it was talking to the 4th grade teachers. I had to go to 4 or 5 grade level meetings with them just to organize the event. And even then, I had Ms. Miller and Ms. Heiser, who were my 4th grade teachers at the time, totally jumped on board. I had the other 4th grade teacher say yes and then back out 2 weeks later because she actually decided to go to Coloma herself. And then the other 4th grade teacher said no. And then the night before the event, called me and said, actually, yes, we're doing it. So at 5 o'clock the night before my event, I had to scramble and get 20 more supplies for 20 more kids. So that was the hardest part for me. Just starting earlier. I think I didn't anticipate how long the actual assembly of the event would have taken me. The night before, I spent at least 8 or 9 hours just spray painting the rocks, assembling all the materials. I think don't underestimate how long things will take. It'd be way better to be prepared 3 days before the event and just be ready to go than scrambling at midnight the night before. I mean, I recommend picking your topic junior year. Find something you love and are really passionate about. But definitely start early. Don't wait for anything. They give you a packet at the very beginning of the year saying this is everything you need to do, and don't just try and meet the deadlines. Try and do it when you have time, because senior year is so busy as is that trying to meet deadlines, if it doesn't fit into your schedule, make it fit. I mean, I know a lot of people that pick something that they would never have normally studied before. Like I have a friend who's totally been into just really, really active sports, and she did her project on yoga. And I have another friend who came from a Catholic family and just has never really followed religion throughout her whole life, studied the Torah and took Jewish Bible study, or not Bible studies, but like, Torah studies, and, went to actual ceremonies about it. And I think just, if you can't find something that you already know you love, find something that you are really perplexed by or fascinated by, and you'll develop an interest in it further.